They say you never truly know someone until money comes between you. I learned that the hard way when my own son tried to evict me from the house I had paid for. I'm Evelyn Carter, 55 years old, and I've spent the last 27 years raising my son Terrence as a single mother. His father left when Terrence was 6 months old, and I worked 3 jobs to make sure my baby had everything he needed. I cleaned houses in the morning, worked retail in the afternoon, and did data entry at night. Every penny went toward Terrence's future, good schools, college fund, opportunities one never had. 3 years ago, when Terrence graduated from business school, he came to me with a proposal. He wanted to buy investment properties, flip houses like the ones on those reality TV shows. He was smart, charming, and I believed in him. So when he asked me to co-sign on a mortgage for a 3-family building in West Philadelphia, I didn't hesitate. "Ma, this is it," he said, eyes bright with ambition. "This is how we build generational wealth. You'll never have to work again." I co-signed, but I did more than that. I put down the $60,000 down payment. My entire retirement fund, saved over 30 years of working myself to exhaustion. The deed was in both our names. For 2 years, things went well. Terrence managed the property, collected rent, handled repairs. I moved into the ground floor unit, finally having a place of my own after years of cramped apartments. Terrence and his girlfriend Ashley lived on the second floor. The third floor we rented out. Then Ashley got pregnant, and everything changed. Ashley was 24, beautiful, and convinced she was better than everyone around her. She'd grown up with money, gone to private schools, never wanted for anything. She looked at me like I was the help. "Terrence, we need more space," she'd say, barely glancing at me. "This building isn't big enough for a baby. We have the whole second floor, Ash. I'm not raising my child in a rental property. We need a real home." One Sunday afternoon, Terrence knocked on my door. Ashley stood behind him, arms crossed, that superior smile on her face. "Ma, we need to talk about the building." "What about it?" "Ashley and I want to sell. The market's good right now, and we can make a nice profit." "Sell?" "Terrence, this is my home. It's an investment property, Ma. That was always the plan. Buy, fix up, sell, move to the next one. But we agreed I'd live here. This is where I retired. All my friends are in this neighborhood." Ashley cut in, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Mrs. Carter, you have to understand, Terrence and I are starting a family. We need to think about our future." "I am his family," I said, looking at my son. "I put down $60,000 for this house. My entire retirement." Terrence shifted uncomfortably. "And you'll get that back when we sell, plus half the profit." "I don't want profit. I want my home." "Ma, be reasonable." "I am being reasonable. I'm 55 years old. I worked my whole life to have a place of my own. You can't just take that away." Ashley's mask slipped. "Take it away. We're not taking anything. Terrence owns half this building. He has a right to sell his portion. Then sell his portion to me. I'll buy him out." "With what money?" Ashley laughed. "You're retired on Social Security. You can't afford to buy out a property worth $300,000. She was right, and she knew it. And the way she said it, like I was nothing, like my years of sacrifice meant nothing, made my blood boil. Terrence wouldn't meet my eyes. "Ma, we're putting the house on the market." "I'm sorry, but that's the decision." "And where am I supposed to go?" You can find another place. Maybe something smaller, more manageable. I don't want something smaller. I want my home. It's not just your home, Ashley said coldly. It's Terrence's investment. And we're selling. You have 60 days to find somewhere else. I looked at my son, waiting for him to tell her she was wrong. Waiting for him to remember the single mother who'd worked herself to exhaustion for him. Waiting for him to be the man I'd raised him to be. But Terrence just said, "I'm sorry, Ma. It's business. Business." My son was putting me out of my home for business. The next 30 days were the worst of my life. Terrence hired a real estate agent who showed the property while I was still living there. Strangers walked through my home, opened my closets, inspected my bathroom, and discussed how they'd update the place. One couple stood in my living room and said, "We definitely gut this unit first. Maybe make it a rental." I was sitting right there. Ashley made it worse. She'd bring her friends over, parade them through, talking loudly about their plans. "Once we sell, we're buying in the suburbs," she announced. "Somewhere with good schools and, a better element. A better element." I knew what she meant. I tried talking to Terrence one more time. I knocked on his door at 7 in the evening. Ashley answered, blocking the doorway. "He's busy. I need to speak with my son." "About what?" "The sale is final. We have an offer." "You have an offer? Already?" "Yep. 320,000. Closes in 30 days. So you might want to start packing." My heart sank. "Can I please speak to Terrence?" "Terrence," she yelled over her shoulder. "Your mother wants to talk about the house again." He appeared, looking annoyed. "Ma, we've been over this." "Terrence, please. This is my home. I put down my life savings, and you'll get it back. You'll get 30,000 plus half the profit. That's almost $70,000. You can rent somewhere nice." "Rent? At my age? With my credit?" "Terrence, I'm your mother. Which is why I'm making sure you get your fair share." His voice had gone cold. "Ma, you need to accept this. It's happening." Ashley smirked from behind him. I saw it then. She'd poisoned my son against me. Turned him into someone I didn't recognize. "When did you become this person?" I asked quietly. "What person?" "The kind of man who throws his mother out on the street." "I'm not throwing you out. I'm exercising my legal right to sell my property." "Your property?" "I put down $60,000. Which you'll get back." He was shouting now. "Why can't you understand that? This is a good deal for both of us. It's not a good deal for me if I'm homeless." Ashley laughed. "Homeless? Don't be dramatic. You're getting $70,000. That's more than most people your age have." "Get out of my face," I said, voice shaking. "Excuse me." Ashley's eyes narrowed. "You hurt me. This is my home until the sale closes. And I don't have to listen to you disrespect me in my own living room." "Actually," Ashley said, pulling out her phone, "this is Terrence's property, and he can have you removed for trespassing if you threaten me." "Threaten you?" "I told you to get out of my face." "That's a threat." "Terrence, call the police." "Ashley, come on," Terrence started. "Call them. I want her out. Tonight." I stared at my son, waiting for him to defend me, to tell his girlfriend she was out of line, to remember who raised him. Instead, he pulled out his phone. "Terrence," I said quietly, "if you call the police on your mother, we're done. Do you understand me? Done." He hesitated, phone in hand. "Call them," Ashley urged. "She can't talk to me like that." Terrence looked between us, Then he dialed. I packed a bag that night while the police waited downstairs. They were respectful, apologetic even. "Ma'am, we're sorry, but the other owner wants you removed for the night. You can come back tomorrow to get your things." My neighbor, Mrs. Chun, took me in. She was 70, lived alone, and had watched me raise Terrence from a baby. "That boy is lost," she said, making up her guest room. "That girl got him twisted. He called the police on me, Mrs. Chun, on his own mother. I know, baby. I saw." She patted my hand. "But this ain't over. You're a Carter woman. We don't break." She was right. I wasn't broken. I was furious. The next morning, I went to see my brother, Marcus. He was a real estate attorney in Center City, successful and sharp. When I told him what happened, his face went dark. He did what? Called the police. Had me removed from my own home. Marcus leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. "Evelyn, I need to ask you something. Do you have the original deed?" "It's in my safe deposit box." "Why?" "Because I want to see exactly how the property was titled, and I want to see every document you signed." We spent 3 hours going through paperwork. The deed was in both our names, me and Terrence, joint tenancy with right of survivorship. The mortgage was in both names. Every document showed equal ownership. "Here's the thing," Marcus said. "He can't sell without your signature. You're a 50% owner. He needs your consent." But he said he was selling. He's bluffing, or he doesn't understand the law. Either way, he can't close on that sale without you signing the deed. Hope flickered. "So I can stop it?" "Absolutely. But Evelyn, there's something else." He pulled out another document. "This is the mortgage. Look at the payment history." I looked. For the past 6 months, payments had been late. Twice, they'd been missed entirely. "Terrence was supposed to be managing this," I said. "Where's the rental income from the 3rd floor?" He said he was using it for repairs and maintenance. Marcus made a call. 10 minutes later, he had the bank statements. The rental income was going into an account in Terrence's name only, and it wasn't being used for repairs. "Evelyn, in the last 6 months, your son has withdrawn $40,000 from this account. The mortgage is 2 months behind, and according to property records, he's taken out a second mortgage without your knowledge." "He what?" "He forged your signature on a second mortgage application. That's fraud, Evelyn, and it's illegal." The room spun. Not only was he trying to evict me, he'd been stealing from me. "What can we do?" Marcus smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "We can do a lot." Marcus filed 3 legal actions simultaneously. First, an injunction blocking the sale. Second, a fraud complaint with the district attorney. Third, a civil suit for theft and breach of fiduciary duty. Terrence was served papers at work. His girlfriend was served at her parents' house. The real estate agent was served at her office, killing the sale immediately. That evening, Terrence showed up at Mrs. Chen's house, papers in hand, face red with anger. "Ma, what the hell is this?" I stood in the doorway, didn't invite him in. "Legal documents. You should read them." "You're suing me?" "Your own son. You called the police on your own mother. I guess we're even." "This is insane. You're accusing me of fraud. Did you or did you not take out a second mortgage without my knowledge?" His face went pale. It was an emergency. You forged my signature. That's a crime, Terrence. I was going to tell you." "When?" After you sold the house and disappeared with all the money. That's not, Ma. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. Ashley wants this baby to have everything, and I'm trying to build something, and you're just getting in the way. Getting in the way. I put down $60,000. I co-signed a mortgage. I gave you everything, and I'm trying to pay you back. By stealing from me? By forging my signature? By calling the police on me? He looked down, shame finally crossing his face. Ashley said, I don't care what Ashley said. You're a grown man. You made these choices. So what? You're going to send me to jail? That depends on you. He looked up, hope and fear mixed in his eyes. What do you mean? The house doesn't sell. Period. I'm not signing anything. You want out? Fine. Sign your half over to me. That's worth $160,000. That's what you stole, Terrence. $40,000 in rental income. The second mortgage you took out for $60,000. And the emotional distress of being evicted by my own child. I'd say we're even. I don't have that kind of money. Then I guess you need to figure it out. Because the alternative is criminal charges. Ashley appeared behind him, venomous. You can't do this. We'll fight this. Please do, I said calmly. I have an excellent attorney. He's very interested in the forged signatures. Terrence, don't listen to her. She's bluffing. Is the district attorney bluffing too? I handed Terrence another paper. That's the criminal complaint. They'll be investigating the fraud. Should take about 6 months. Of course, you won't be able to work in finance with a fraud charge pending. Terrence went white. He just started a job at a bank. Ma, please. You have 30 days to sign over your half of the property, or face criminal charges. Your choice, son. Terrence didn't sign. Instead, he hired a lawyer, an expensive one Ashley's parents paid for. They filed countermotions, claimed I was an abusive mother trying to steal from my own child, said I'd manipulated him into buying the property in the first place. It was ugly, and it was about to get uglier. Marcus did something I didn't expect. He hired a private investigator. If they're going to make this a character fight, we need to know everything. What the investigator found was stunning. Ashley wasn't just pregnant. She'd been pregnant before, with another man's child 2 years ago. She'd had an abortion and told her parents she'd had a miscarriage. Her parents had paid her $50,000 to recover. She'd used that money to pay off credit card debt. But that wasn't the worst part. The investigator found that Terrence's business wasn't doing as well as he claimed. He'd lost $30,000 in a cryptocurrency scheme. He'd borrowed money from Ashley's parents and couldn't pay it back. The pressure to sell the house wasn't about starting a family. It was about covering debts. And Ashley? She'd been pushing him to cut me out completely. Text messages showed her calling me dead weight and saying I was holding him back. She poisoned him, I said, reading the texts. Evelyn, I need to ask you something, Marcus said. Do you want to destroy him or save him? I looked at my brother. What do you mean? We have enough evidence to ruin him. Criminal charges for fraud. Civil suit for theft. We could take everything and send him to jail. Or, he paused. Or we can use this to wake him up. Wake him up how? Show him who Ashley really is. Show him what he's become. Give him a chance to make this right. I thought about the little boy who used to hold my hand crossing the street. The teenager who'd hug me tight when I worked double shifts. The son I'd raised to be better than this. I want my son back, I said quietly. Not revenge. I want Terrence back. Marcus nodded. Then we do this my way. Trust me. Marcus arranged a meeting. Me, Terrence, Ashley, both lawyers, and a mediator. We sat in a conference room in Center City, tension thick enough to cut. Terrence's lawyer started. My client is willing to settle for $50,000 to buy out Mrs. Carter's share. Decline, Marcus said. Mrs. Carter owns 50% of a property worth $320,000. That's $160,000 minimum. She only put down $60,000 and has made every mortgage payment on time for 3 years while your client missed payments and stole $40,000 in rental income. Terrence shifted uncomfortably. Ashley whispered something to their lawyer. Furthermore, Marcus continued, pulling out documents, we have evidence of mortgage fraud, forged signatures, and misappropriation of funds. The district attorney is very interested in this case. That's you can't prove, Terrence started. Marcus slid papers across the table. Bank statements showing the rental income being diverted. The forged second mortgage application. Text messages between Terrence and Ashley discussing how to get rid of me. Terrence's face went from red to pale. Where did you get these? Discovery, Marcus said smoothly. All legally obtained. Ashley grabbed the papers. As she read, her expression changed. This is private. It's evidence. Which brings me to my next point. Marcus pulled out another file. Miss Ashley Reynolds, would you like to tell Terrence about the $50,000 you received from your parents 2 years ago? Ashley went still. That's none of your business. It is when you're using my client's son to cover your debts. Marcus opened the file. 2 years ago, you told your parents you'd had a miscarriage. They gave you $50,000 for medical expenses and recovery. But there was no miscarriage, was there, Ashley? There was an abortion. And the father wasn't Terrence. The room went silent. Terrence stared at Ashley, face slack with shock. That's... How dare you, Ashley sputtered. Medical records don't lie. Neither do the text messages between you and your ex-boyfriend discussing the abortion. Terrence, don't listen to this. But Terrence wasn't listening to her. He was staring at the documents, watching his entire relationship crumble in real time. You lied to your parents, he said quietly. It was complicated. You lied. And you used that money to pay off your credit cards while I'm drowning in debt trying to make you happy. Terrence, baby, we can talk about this later. And this baby you're carrying, he looked up at her, eyes hard. Is it even mine? Of course it is. How can you ask me that? Marcus slid another paper across. DNA can confirm that. If you'd like. Ashley stood abruptly. I'm not listening to this. Sit down, Terrence said, voice cold. Sit. Down. She sat. Terrence looked at me for the first time since the meeting started. Really looked at me. And I saw it the moment he realized what he'd done. Ma, he whispered. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. Ashley left. Just got up, grabbed her purse, and walked out. Terrence didn't stop her. He just sat there, head in his hands, while her lawyer scrambled to follow. When the door closed, Terrence looked up at me with tears streaming down his face. Ma, what have I done? You forgot who you are, I said quietly. You forgot where you came from. I was trying so hard to be successful, to build something, to give Ashley everything she wanted. And I lost myself. You lost more than yourself. You lost your integrity. You called the police on your mother, Terrence. I know. He was sobbing now. I know, and I can't take it back. I can't fix this. Can't you? He looked at Marcus. Uncle Marcus, is there any way can I? That depends on what you're willing to do, Marcus said. Anything. I'll do anything. Marcus laid out the terms. Terrence would sign over his half of the property to me. He would repay the $40,000 he'd stolen in rental income with a payment plan we'd agreed to. He would cooperate with clearing up the second mortgage fraud, claiming Ashley had pressured him into it, which was true. And he would go to counseling. Counseling? Terrence asked. You need help, I said. You lost yourself in trying to please someone who didn't deserve you. You need to figure out who you are without her. What about the criminal charges? We'll ask the DA to drop them if you make full restitution and complete a financial crimes education program. You'll have to report it to your employer, but if you're honest about what happened and what you're doing to fix it, you might keep your job. Terrence nodded slowly. And you? Will you ever forgive me? I reached across the table, took his hand. You're my son. I will always love you. But you need to earn back my trust. I will. I swear I will. The next 6 months were hard. Terrence moved out of the building into a small studio apartment. Ashley tried to come back once, claiming she was sorry, but Terrence had learned his lesson. He got a paternity test. The baby wasn't his. The property became mine completely. I converted Terrence's old apartment into a beautiful 2-bedroom, rented it to a young teacher for a fair price. The third-floor tenant stayed. I was making enough from rents to live comfortably, pay the mortgage, and save again. But the best part was watching Terrence rebuild himself. He started seeing a therapist twice a week. At first he was resistant, but slowly he opened up about the pressure he'd felt to be successful, to prove himself, to give Ashley the lifestyle she demanded. I thought if I could just make enough money, be successful enough, I'd be worthy, he told me one afternoon. We were having coffee in my apartment, something we hadn't done in over a year. Worthy of what? Of love, of respect, of being somebody. He looked down. Dad left because I wasn't enough. Ashley left because I wasn't enough. I thought if I could just achieve more, maybe I'd finally be enough. My heart broke. Baby, your father didn't leave because of you. He left because he was weak and selfish. And Ashley didn't love you. She loved what she thought you could give her. But you, he looked up, tears in his eyes. I was enough for you. Always. And I threw that away. Not threw away. You stumbled, but you're finding your way back. He started working 2 jobs to repay me, his bank job during the day and weekend work helping Marcus with property management. Every 2 weeks, he brought me a check for $500. It would take years to repay the full amount, but he never missed a payment. More importantly, he started showing up, not just physically, but emotionally. He'd come over for Sunday dinner. He'd help Mrs. Chun with her groceries. He'd sit with me and actually talk about his therapy, his struggles, his hopes. One day, 8 months after everything fell apart, he knocked on my door with a young woman I didn't recognize. Ma, this is Jasmine. She works at the community center where I've been volunteering. Jasmine was lovely. Natural hair, warm smile, social worker energy. Mrs. Carter, Terrence talks about you all the time. It's so nice to finally meet you. Volunteering. I raised an eyebrow at my son. He shrugged, looking sheepish. My therapist suggested I do something for others instead of always chasing money. So I've been helping with the after-school program. Jasmine runs it. He's great with the kids, Jasmine said. They love him. After she left, I pulled Terrence aside. She seems nice. She is. She's real, Ma. She doesn't care that I don't have a fancy car or a big house. She just likes who I am. And who are you, Terrence? He thought about it. I'm still figuring that out. But I'm getting there. A year after the legal battle, Terrence and I were finally in a good place. He'd paid back almost half of what he owed. He was still seeing his therapist. He'd been promoted at work after being honest with his boss about everything that had happened. One Sunday evening, we sat on my front porch watching the neighborhood kids play. Ma, can I ask you something? Anything, baby. Why didn't you give up on me? After everything I did, you could have sent me to jail. You could have cut me off completely. Why didn't you? I looked at my son, 28 now, finally growing into the man I'd always known he could be. Because you're my child, and a mother's love doesn't have conditions. Even when I treated you like trash, even then. But Terrence, loving you didn't mean letting you destroy yourself. Sometimes love means holding people accountable. I destroyed us, though. Our relationship is being rebuilt. Stronger than before because now it's based on honesty. He was quiet for a moment. Ashley called me last week. My stomach tensed. What did she want? To get back together. She said she made a mistake, that she still loves me. What did you say? I said no. And you know what felt different this time? What? I wasn't tempted. Not even a little bit. Because I finally understand what real love looks like. It looks like you, Ma. Working 3 jobs to raise me. Putting down your retirement to help me invest. And even when I betrayed you, still seeing something in me worth saving. Tears pricked my eyes. You were always worth saving, baby. I know that now. Jasmine helps me see it too. She's not like Ashley. She doesn't want me to be someone I'm not. You really like her. I do. She's good people. Like you. He paused. Actually, I wanted to ask your permission for something. My permission? I want to propose. I know it's only been a few months, but Ma, when you know, you know. And I want to do this right this time. I want your blessing. I looked at my son, the boy I'd raised, the man he'd become, the person he was still growing into. You have my blessing. But Terrence, yes, ma'am. Don't just marry her. Build with her. Be partners, equal partners, and never, ever forget where you came from. I won't, Ma. I promise. 18 months after Terrence tried to evict me, I stood in a church watching my son get married. Jasmine was radiant in a simple dress. Terrence was handsome in his suit, and for the first time in years, everything felt right. During the ceremony, when the minister asked who gives this woman to be married, Jasmine's father stood. But then, unexpectedly, Terrence turned to me. Ma, would you stand with me? I stood, confused. The minister smiled, understanding something I didn't yet. I'd like to do something, Terrence said, voice carrying through the church. Before I marry Jasmine, I need to say something to my mother. He turned to face me fully. Ma, 3 years ago, you gave me everything you had to help me start a business, and I repaid you by trying to steal from you. I called the police on you. I treated you like you were nothing. And instead of giving up on me, you fought for me. Not to destroy me, but to save me. Tears were streaming down my face now. I can't take back what I did, but I can spend the rest of my life being the man you raised me to be. The man Jasmine deserves. The man I should have been all along. He pulled an envelope from his jacket. This is the deed to the property. Signed over to you completely. No strings. No conditions. It's yours. It should have always been yours. Terrence, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Because it's right. And because you taught me that doing right matters more than doing well. He handed me the deed, then pulled out another paper. And this is a repayment plan for the rest of the money I owe you. Signed and notarized. Every month, until I've paid back every penny. Son, I love you, Ma. And I'm sorry for everything. I hugged him tight. This boy who'd become a man, who'd lost his way and found it again. I love you too, baby. And I'm proud of you. The congregation burst into applause. Even the minister was wiping his eyes. The reception was held in my building's backyard. Mrs. Chin had helped me decorate with string lights and flowers. The whole neighborhood came. People who'd known Terrence since he was a baby, who'd watched him stumble, and now celebrated his redemption. Jasmine found me during dinner. Mrs. Carter, I want you to know. Terrence told me everything. About what happened with Ashley, with the house, all of it. I'm glad he was honest with you. He's a different person now. The man I'm marrying is nothing like the man you described from 2 years ago. No, he's not. He's better. He's who he was meant to be. Thank you for not giving up on him. A lot of mothers would have. I smiled. He's my son. That's not something you give up on. 2 years after the wedding, I got a call at 6 in the morning. It was Terrence, voice shaking. Ma, it's time. Jasmine's in labor. I was at the hospital in 20 minutes. Terrence was pacing the waiting room, nervous energy rolling off him in waves. What if I mess this up? What if I'm a terrible father? I took his hands. You won't be. How do you know? Because you've already done the hardest part. You've learned from your mistakes. You've grown. You've become accountable. That's what being a good parent is, not being perfect, but being willing to grow. 8 hours later, I held my grandson for the first time. Terrence Arthur Carter, named for his grandfather and his father. We want you to be his godmother, Jasmine said. Not just in name, but really. We want him to know you, to learn from you. And we want him to grow up in a house where family comes first, Terrence added. Where integrity matters more than money. Little Terrence grabbed my finger, held tight. I looked at my son, saw tears in his eyes. He's going to know his grandmother, Terrence said. Not just know her, he's going to understand what she sacrificed, what she built, who she is, and who's that? The strongest woman I've ever known. Someone who could have destroyed me, but chose to save me instead. 6 months later, Terrence and Jasmine made an announcement. They were moving back into the building, into the second-floor apartment I'd renovated. Ma, I know you rented it out, but I wanted to ask if maybe we could take it over. Pay you fair market rent, sign a lease, do it all proper. But be close to you, so the baby can grow up knowing his grandmother. And so I can learn from you, Jasmine added. How to be a mother, how to raise a strong black man in this world. I looked around my home, the home I'd almost lost, then fought for, then kept. The home that was now filling with family again. On one condition, I said. Anything, Terrence replied. Sunday dinners, every week. The 3 of you, me, and whoever else we want to invite. We build this family the right way, with everyone at the table. Deal. 5 years after the eviction notice, I stood in my backyard at a neighborhood barbecue. Terrence was grilling with Marcus, both of them laughing about something. Jasmine was inside with the baby. They were expecting another one. Mrs. Chen sat beside me, watching the scene with satisfaction. "You did good, Evelyn," she said. "I almost lost him, but you didn't. You fought for him the right way." A young woman approached, a neighbor I didn't know well. "Mrs. Carter? I'm sorry to bother you, but I heard about what happened with your son a few years ago. The property situation." I tensed. "You did. My son is doing something similar to me right now, trying to force me out of my house. I don't know what to do." I gestured to the empty chair beside me. "Sit down, baby. Let me tell you what I learned." Over the next hour, I shared everything: the legal strategies, the emotional journey, the importance of setting boundaries while still leaving room for redemption. But the most important thing, I said, is knowing when to fight and when to let go. Some people can't be saved, but some people are just lost. Your son, is he lost or is he gone? She thought about it. Lost, I think. He's gotten in with the wrong crowd, but he's still my baby. Then you fight. But you fight smart. You protect yourself legally. You set firm boundaries, and you make him face consequences. Real consequences. Because sometimes love looks like letting someone hit rock bottom so they can climb back up. After she left, Terrence came over. "Ma, was that Mrs. Johnson's daughter?" "It was. She's going through something similar to what we went through." He sat down heavily. "I hate knowing I put you through that." "I know you do. But you know what? Some good came from it." "How?" "I learned my strength. I learned I could stand up for myself, even against my own child." "And you learned who you really are, not who Ashley wanted you to be, not who your father's absence told you to be, but who you actually are. A good man, a good father, a good son. You think other people can learn from our story? I think every family goes through something. Money, betrayal, loss, something tests you. The question is whether you let it destroy you or transform you." Little Terrence toddled over, his 3-year-old face serious. "Grandma, Daddy says you're the boss." I laughed. "Did he now?" "Yep. He says you're the boss of everything." "Not everything, baby. Just of knowing right from wrong." "What's the difference?" I picked up my grandson, settled him on my lap. Right is doing what's fair and good, even when it's hard. Wrong is doing what's easy and selfish, even when you know better. Your daddy forgot that for a while. But he remembers now. Yes, he does, because I reminded him. That's what grandmas do. We remember the important things so our babies don't forget. Terrence overheard, came over with tears in his eyes. "Ma, I'm just telling him the truth." "I know. That's what makes it hard to hear." He knelt beside us. "TJ, you know Grandma could have given up on me, right? When I did bad things." "But she didn't," TJ said with a child's certainty. "No, she didn't. And that's the kind of love I want you to grow up with. The kind that doesn't quit, but also doesn't accept less than you're capable of." "'Kay, Daddy." As the sun set over Philadelphia, I looked around at my family, the one I'd almost lost, then fought for, then rebuilt stronger than before. The house that had been the center of our battle was now the center of our healing. Marcus raised his glass. A toast to Evelyn Carter, the strongest woman I know, who taught us all that you can love someone fiercely and still hold them accountable. To Ma, Terrence echoed. who saved me from myself. To Grandma, Jasmine added, who's teaching me how to raise kings. I raised my glass, tears in my eyes. To family, the real kind, built on honesty, accountability, and love that doesn't quit. 10 years after the eviction notice, I sat on my porch watching my grandson, now 13, play basketball with his little brother, Marcus Jr., who was 7. Terrence had done well for himself. He was now a senior vice president at his bank, but he'd never forgotten the lessons he learned. Every month he still brought me a check, not because he owed me any more, but because family takes care of family. He'd expanded the tradition. Now, on the first Sunday of every month, the whole family gathered for dinner at my place. Terrence cooked, Jasmine brought dessert, and we invited neighbors and friends. The building had become a community hub. I'd bought the property next door and converted it into affordable apartments for families. Terrence helped me manage it, teaching his sons about real estate, about community, about building wealth the right way. Ashley had tried to contact him once, years ago. He declined. That person doesn't exist in my life anymore, he'd said. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. That evening, as the family gathered, Terrence stood to speak. Ma, the kids have been asking me to tell them the story about what happened with the house. I told them some, but I thought you should tell them the rest. I looked at my grandsons, at my daughter-in-law, at the neighbors and friends who'd become family. All right, but this isn't a story about me being a hero. It's a story about making mistakes, facing consequences, and choosing to grow. TJ, now serious and thoughtful, asked, Grandma, were you scared? When Daddy tried to make you leave? Terrified. I thought I'd lost my son and my home. But you fought back. I did. Because sometimes love means fighting for what's right, even when the person you're fighting is someone you love. And Daddy learned? Your daddy learned. It took time and it was painful, but he learned. Terrence added, and boys, the most important thing I learned is this. You can have all the money in the world, but if you lose your integrity, you have nothing. Grandma taught me that. She could have destroyed me, but instead, she saved me. Because that's what family does, I said. We don't destroy each other. We hold each other accountable, we set boundaries, but we always leave room for redemption. Always, little Marcus asked. Always, because nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. The question is whether we learn from them. As the sun set over the neighborhood I'd fought to stay in, the family I'd fought to keep together, I realized something. The eviction notice that had almost destroyed us had actually saved us. It had forced Terrence to face who he'd become. It had taught both of us about boundaries, accountability, and the true meaning of family. The deed to my house hung framed in my living room now, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. A reminder that home isn't just about property. It's about the people who fill it, the values that guide it, and the love that sustains it. And my home was full.